We are here with Ryan and Haylee today from the Mount Rainier Creamery. We had so much fun going out on their farm. Let's start with the beginning. Talk to us a little bit about how the business came about.
I grew up in the dairy industry actually here in Tacoma. My dad's uncle started a small producer handler dairy called Faith Dairy, and you would come and put money in a jar and take your milk. Eventually they hired my dad to run their dairy site out in Roy, and that's where I grew up. I ended up moving down to California for a while, met this awesome person, was able to convince her to marry me.
Into back up to Washington.
I was a salesman making very good money and bought a house and suckered her in and said, let's move now. I was working in the dairy industry and I was consulting with dairymen and just felt a calling by God to get back in the industry. But when we got started, the goal was always to be vertically integrated. I'd grown up seeing that model work very successfully. We started with 100 cows. About 3 years ago, we were up to almost 700 head between our young stock and everything. And so we had done the scale up. All it did was I had more employees, more bills, more problems, and no more profit. We had finally decided in 2018, I looked her and I said, we have to change. We have to go do what we said we're gonna do. Otherwise, we're gonna sell out.
I grew up in an area where there were a lot of dairies. Didn't know anything about the industry at all. Being on a farm, I had a lot of stupid questions that I had to ask, but I also saw how much work got put into bringing a bottle to the grocery store where I just pick it up and take it home, right? So just learning it from the other side of that, I thought, people need to know this. They need to understand how hard it is to get that bottle on the shelf. We really need to be able to amplify these stories of these people that are making these great products. And what it took to get it there is like a victory, right? So that's kind of where the market idea was born. And so we kind of just jumped off the cliff without knowing exactly what was going to happen.
100%.
We built the plant and the store at the same time. The store happened to be done first before the plant. Yeah. And so we just said, well, this guy's ready. Let's just go for it. And so we opened Log Show Weekend in Buckley, which is a very big deal. And threw ourselves in there to the wolves and learned a lot of lessons. We've been open an entire year now and we've learned a ton. But we've developed a customer base that we just adore. They're so loyal and so great, and we only want to grow that.
One of the things that we wanted to do was increase interaction between staff and the customer. We wanted the customer to have an experience rather than just a transaction. You're getting an awesome product, but you're getting it delivered to you with someone that actually cares about you. We want you to come because you like our product, but you also are like, you feel good about it.
It's a cool place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel cared about.
Community connection.
Yeah.
I grew up drinking whole raw milk. I wanted people to experience the milk the way I grew up. There's lots of pros and cons, but we've chose to go with the low temp vat pasteurized milk. I think in our dairy industry in general in the United States, we've gone to trying to make everything shelf stable for a really long time. We want everything to be able to transport states over states over state. It's all about volume and it's not about quality. In the United States, we've bred cows for production, which inadvertently over the last 100 years is bred in A1 or A1A2. A2A2 is the structure of the beta casein, and what it is it's a genetic precursor in the cow. And so we have been breeding over the 13 years that we've been in business to get to almost all A2A2. Because the dairy industry in the United States is mostly A1, there has not been a big push for research in the United States. There has been lots of research outside of the United States. In fact, A2A2 baby formula is one of the fastest growing industries in China because of lactose intolerance issues with children over there. So that would indicate that there's something to this. And so we do two things. We select our cows in our breeding for A2A2, which then carries over into the milk protein into the cow. And then we also, with the exception of a few products, we don't homogenize. And for those that don't know what homogenizing is, you're basically putting pressure on the milk and you're exploding the fat to where it stays suspended. So if you ever look at our milk, right now with the cap here, and I'll see if I can do it. I'm gonna pull that off.
No.
So
Oh,
I
it's
don't know if
kind
you
of
can
hard
see
to
it or
tell.
not, but this one was just made. But what'll end up happening
You'll
is
see the line
cream.
kind of go around the top.
The cream
Or
will
the
naturally
cream.
separate to the top because that's what milk naturally does. But most people have never seen that because the industry has basically homogenized so that you can't ever tell the difference between a butterfat on any milk. So different times of the season, the cow will produce more cream or less. When you see our milk, you get whatever the cow is producing that time. So later in the summer, when the grass value and the quality of the grass, you'll see the cream go down. In the wintertime, we stabilize the diet because they're in the barns because it's too wet outside, and you'll see the cream go up. So right now, when we process this bottle of whole milk, it goes from the cow, it gets chilled, we run it into a pasteurizer, we heat it up to 150 degrees for 45 minutes, and then we cool it and put it in a bottle. And we're able to reuse these, wash them, sanitize them, and we're able to shrink our carbon footprint.
It's a learning curve. You have to get used to milk being the way that it naturally is, because that's just not what you're finding in the grocery store, right? We're not used to it. So we get questions all the time like, what is this on the top of my milk? I opened it and I can't even pour because there's this big glob in there. Like, that is butter. Like, that's good stuff. Like, you can take that out and just make something delicious. People spread it on toast. People, you know, will put it in their coffee. Really, you just give it a good shake and you're homogenizing it yourself, and away you go. And it just, the taste is just so much better than anything else.
Something that I notice is consistent with what you are selling is everything is fresh. How are these oranges different than the ones you buy in the store?
So a lot of times they'll actually use a gas, and it's a natural occurring gas in life. So what the industry has learned is they can take this gas and then gas the oranges when they're green and then make them nice and orange so that you as a consumer say, oh, it's a beautiful orange. But it hasn't naturally sucked up the sugar. So the oranges that we get, my cousin and his neighbor raised them. So number one, it falls under our mantra of small and local. The orange you're gonna try today, this orange right here, was picked on Monday. It was on a truck, and today is Wednesday. And you saw them get delivered this morning.
Yeah, ripened on the tree then, not
yes.
by the...
So that was on the tree, it was picked.
Yeah, the
Can't really put that
peel
on
is
film.
thicker. Yeah.
Yep.
So see how it's easier to peel off?
Yeah.
Yeah, the white stuff doesn't stick.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the that's a big difference. That's one of the things you can tell when it's gas ripened or tree ripened.
I have to try it.
Yeah. You can smell it too.
Yeah.
So off.
That's what an orange is supposed to taste like.
Yeah.
So
That's really good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
so that's what food is, and
Yeah.
we're blessed in this country because we have all these different options of food that normally shouldn't be there because it's not in season, right? Our goal is to get people to know what food is supposed to taste like again. So every once in a while, like on Monday, we sold out of half and half for a half a day. And I know that's not always the most convenient, but we would rather you have a fresh, awesome product than, you know, we sell you something that is going to go bad in a couple days, you know?
And something that struck me with both of you is your love for the customer. It makes local truly local.
We really do want people to understand, you know, like this is really what it looks like to run an operation and for people to work hard and to see what it looks like on the other side of it. And so we're trying to be as authentic as possible about that life and what it looks like to be here. So
At the end of the day, money comes and goes. Relationships in this world are really the only thing that matters.
That's right.
Obviously, we're not going to have a deep connection to every single customer, but if we can make that person's day just a little brighter with a product or with the way that we interact with them, then we feel like we've succeeded that day. 90% of people don't want to see you succeed. 10% do. And so what we've learned is to kind of set the 90% aside and just cling on to that 10%. Because a lot of times when you do have a dream or a passion or a vision, it looks ridiculous from the outside.
the hurdles we had to cross just regulation-wise were way more than we had expected. And that's okay. That's a choice that we made. We jumped in with both feet, but once we were in there, we're like, whoa, this is crazy. And so really, if anything, it's given us a heart for others trying to do it. And so when we see a startup business trying to start, kind of like you guys, and making this happen, right? If we see it, we're like, let me help you. This is what I've learned and how to get through that, or let me prepare you at least of what you're about to step into, you know? Because we didn't have that. I think we just kind of jumped in without really realizing it.
You just get used to crisis. There's always been something breaking that we're learning how to fix, and so
Yes.
that's not everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
used to it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we're just used to it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Haley, and telling us the story of Mount Rainier Creamery and showing us the farm and the shop. It's incredible. I highly recommend you go visit. It's out on 410 in Buckley. You will not be disappointed.
No,
Thank
it's
you for
well worth
having
it.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
thank
appreciate
you.
it. I appreciate you guys highlighting all the small businesses. I
Yeah.
think it's awesome. So it's really cool what you do. So thank you.